If you've noticed, every time I talk, every time I present, I do not have a PowerPoint. Does anyone know why I don't have a PowerPoint?
Was it because like you want to engage more with the audience, so to get their attention, so to
Cool.
listen to what you're saying?
So I want to be so captivating that you don't need to make notes from somewhere else, that because I'm speaking, you want to listen to me, you don't want to listen to the points there. I also find that when you have a PowerPoint, it's very distracting. So I can be talking and I can have like loads of notes, and then you want to copy the notes and then you don't listen to me, and then attention is diverted to something else. So now I'm going to teach you how to be the most captivating speaker. You have the points, now you just need to add the power, and then you've got the PowerPoints. So what I'm going to do is make sure you have the power to be able to talk about the points that you need to talk about. However, I don't want you to think that PowerPoints are like bad, there's nothing wrong with them. But you also need to remember that I am not the best public speaker. I'm only starting out. So these are the things that I've noticed, these are the things that I've taught myself, I've read books, the things I've done from videoing myself, looking at it and seeing what I can do to do better, stuff like that. Okay. So when people see you present, they should say, oh my gosh, wow, this is an experience. When people speak, they want it to be an experience. You don't want it to just be like, oh, I heard someone else speak. It needs to be an experience. And this is what teachers, lecturers, this is what they should be like in an ideal world. We should aim to make an experience extraordinary. So it should be different. It shouldn't be what you're always going through. It should be something different. And we want to set you all to be apart, to be dynamic, and to be captivating. Those are the type of speakers we want you to be. Has anyone got any questions at the moment? Why are we teaching you this? Whether you own your own company or you're inspiring many people, you're speaking to employees, which, you know, obviously we want you to, as opposed to maybe presenting on behalf of your company, we want you to be able to captivate and engage the audience in everything that you're doing. So something like consultancy, you're going to have to do that. Even with events management, you're going to have to pitch to people to be able to speak to them. In anything that you do, you're going to be able to do this. And for the fact that most of you want to go to university, if you do this for your seminars, then the teacher might see something in you and maybe like, you know what, I want you to do this for me and do that, and more opportunities come your way. So today we're going to be focused on public speaking. So if you've, maybe have to make a speech somewhere, this is what's going to help you. So Steve Jobs has been described as the greatest speaker of our time. Have you heard that? Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
From Apple?
Yeah.
Why?
Innovation.
Pardon?
Innovation basically because of his design.
Mhm.
It's like a new kind of source of
Because he communicates with his audience well, isn't it? And I thought he like walks around with them, isn't he?
Yeah, he runs around. He's a drummer.
I think he's good as well, because I've actually watched one of his interviews or like presentations, and like it's really interesting the way he gets the crowd involved a lot.
Yeah, so literally he wears like jeans, t-shirt and trainers, which I love. And his PowerPoints are like, he talks for about 10 minutes. He has like, his PowerPoint is a picture and about one sentence, which was really, really captivating. And at every 10 minutes he drops bombs. So you might say, Apple's launching this new, or Apple's doing that. So he always knows how to captivate the audience and keep them enjoying. And to do this, you need charisma. You need charisma to engage the audience. You need to be a charismatic person. So before even thinking about the PowerPoint, you need to think of a narrative of what the message you want people to say is. So when you're talking about your books, the reason why I said a one-line summary is because you need to think about specifically about what you want the audience to engage or learn. Because you can talk all that you want in public speaking or anything that you want, but you need to make sure that the audience or the people that you're talking to leave with something. So like I said, fun facts. People dedicate or should dedicate about 30 hours researching, writing, organising, storyboarding, sketching, scripting and revising their 1 hour speech. So if you think about 30 hours, that's like about a day and a half that you're using to script 1 hour. You're coming to talk for 1 hour. So if you're doing that for a 10-minute speech, you need to be spending about at least 2 or 3 hours scripting and planning everything. And that includes research. So it's just even after you've read your book, how you're going to organise it, how you're going to script it, the things you're going to include. That's how much time you should be taking. About 3 hours to come and speak for 10 minutes. It's not a lot of time, is it? Yeah? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so the key point from the number one is craft a story, create a narrative. You need to have some sort of narrative for what you're going to say. You need to have a narrative. The second question is, how can you break it down for everyone else to understand? So it's like what Jemmy was saying with the Lego. How can you break it down so much that everyone will be able to understand what you're saying? So like a story, there needs to be a 3-part characterization: a beginning, a middle and an end. So you need to have a reason why you're talking about it, what you want them to take, and how it comes to a happy ending, what you can do at the end. So the setup, or the beginning of it, is why should I care? So you have to engage people. Why should I care about what you're talking? And then in the middle, you need to talk about how you can make things better. And then when you end, you need to talk about what you want to leave with them. So the beginning is like the setup. You're kind of setting the scene, what you like, you know, the good things about it. Why should they care about what you're saying? So if I am talking about Ghana, why should you care about me talking about Ghana? It's got nothing to do with you. So why should you care? The middle bit is developing it. So the things of, you know, what I care, the message, the things I want to say. And the bottom bit is, why should you keep hold to this message? Why should you continue to develop it or listen to it? So if you want to captivate people, you need to make sure that they care about what you're saying. So a lot of times when you see people talking on stages, they may be talking about something you don't, maybe not even interested in. In TED Talks, a lot of the times, I don't want to watch the TED Talks, but they're so captivating, they're so interesting, that I'm like, okay, do you know what, I actually want to listen to what they have to say. It's because they know how to grab your attention. So what you need to do for point number 2 is to have very clear emotional structure of how you can win people. If you want people to care, you should try and, you know, act a little personal story, maybe a little sob story, you know. When I was carrying these flowers, I tripped over, banged my knee, and it really hurt. I kicked a cat in the way, the cat died, and it was really, really sad, but the flowers made it. So I've made the story personable to me. So you need to make it personable to you, so that you can be able to relate with it. So this is why when you were talking about the things that you felt that the book related to you, I was like, this is really, really good, because you need to, it engaged me because you related it back to you. The book has nothing to do with me. I've never read the book. The book means nothing to me. But as soon as you make that book personable to you, then I'm like, okay, do you know what? It's worth my time to listen. It's worth my time to know, because I care about you, not so much the book. Yeah? Has anyone got any questions?
No.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, this is a lot of talking. How can you make it memorable? Because with words are the least memorable way that people are going to remember what you're thinking. Okay, so pictures are great in presentations, but they're underrated. Pictures need to be clear and easy to understand. So when Steve Jobs sometimes presents things, he has one picture and a line. I'm sure people remember the picture more than the line. And most of the pictures I see are the ones that are of apps and stuff. That's what people take in. So pictures are memorable. And you also need to be able to summarize what you're selling in one sentence. So if you want to start maybe an institution, or you want to start your clothing company, you need to be able to summarize what you're doing in one line. So when people ask me, what is the Cultivate Cloud? I have forced myself to remember it in one line, which I'm actually trying to remember now. So it's to cultivate young students to be well-informed, successful, and influential in their target area through personalized means. And I had to change the order because I put it in a very intentional order. So it has to be, you have to be well-informed, so you have the knowledge, successful because you have that knowledge, and when you're successful, then you can influence people. So even the order that I say is so important, is that intentional, that I've thought of the very wording that people are going to remember it. Because I can say to them, you know what, it's successful, you know, making students, you know, influential and making them well-informed, but the order is mixed up. The order doesn't really reflect what we're trying to do. The order has to be even that intentional. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So a lot of times people want to add statistics or buzzwords or little things to make it memorable, but most of the time it's not really necessary. So you need to think about the speech that you're saying, or what you're saying, needs to be understandable. People need to understand it from an 8-year-old to an 80-year-old. So if an 8-year-old and an 80-year-old can understand what you're saying, then you'll be able to know that your message has made a point. Does that make sense? So if I'm talking about, let's say, I'm talking about the book I've read, or I'm talking about a topic someone's given me, I have to make sure that everyone on the spectrum is able to understand it fully. So a presentation should inform, it should entertain, and it should inspire. So it should inform where you are taking some sort of knowledge from it. It should entertain where you're not bored, you know, you're engaged, and it should kind of empower you to want to do more. So if I talk to you, I want you to feel like, oh, you know what, I'm going to go out and conquer the world. There's a difference between motivation and inspiration. With motivation, you're just there for a season, you know, you feel good. When you inspire someone, you leave something planted in them that they want to go out and do it. And that's what I really, really liked about him. You need to make sure that you spend time in thinking about what you want to say, because your words are power. When people hear you speak, they need to take it and really go forth to be like, okay, do you know what? I'm taking and act on the words that they've said. I remember I was in this room about 3 or 4 months ago, speaking to people about how to be the best. And this girl emailed me about 2 weeks ago saying, look, I know I haven't heard you, in a long time. I heard you speak quite a while ago, and I wanted to know if you can look at my CV because I want to make sure my CV is the best. So the words that you're implementing, the words that you're planting in someone can come out, and they can be the words that people are seeing in a very long time. So I'm now going to give you qualities to present. So how to present proud of excellence. So the first thing you need to do is take in the audience. So a lot of the times when I go and speak at places, I like to sit and feel what the people are like, see where they're at in their life, so I know who I'm going to be talking to. So that means sometimes I have to literally sit in the audience to see what they're like. So I know that if people are getting distracted or they get really bored, I know I'm going to have to condense whatever I'm saying. Whereas if I feel like they are really engaging, then I know I have to do loads of things for it. Yeah, people, you need to kind of like warm them up. So the reason why I didn't talk first is because I kind of have to warm you guys up. So by getting you guys to present, then you'll be more relaxed and you'll be more ready to listen. And at the same time, I also feel like sometimes you might need to be cooled down. So I might start off very slow, very low, bringing it down, talking like quietly to gain your attention. So then I can warm you up, and then I can talk loud, and I can continue to gain and have your attention. Eye contact is important. Eye contact should be about 3 to 4 seconds, 10 seconds if you can. So sometimes when people, you know, are talking, they look at you very straightforward, and you're just like, okay, this is awkward, but they've engaged you, they've captured your attention. So sometimes whatever you're doing, they can be looking at you for a very long time. You may be doing other things like taking pictures of yourself and sending it to people. Yeah, of course, yeah. And in that time, they've caught your attention. And some people would go to even say from 3 to 4, all the way to from 8 to 12 seconds. That's a lot of time to be looking at people. We also need to remember to breathe. So someone like me who sometimes can talk very fast, I have to remember to breathe. Like literally sometimes when I'm talking, I'll be like, breathe, breathe, breathe in my neck. So I remember to, you know, take a second to really chill, to make sure that people are really engaging with what you're saying, to make sure that people are taking in what the words you're saying. And also be free as well in the breathing, because sometimes you feel like restricted or you feel stressed, but you need to just be free and talk freely as well. And you also need to watch your pace. This means with the way you're walking and the way you're talking. If the way I walked matched the way I talked, I'd be like winning right now, because you need to slow it down for people. So not everyone's thumbs can move very fast, not everyone's pens can move very fast. So you need to watch your pace with the words to make sure that people are continuing to keep up. And also, the last thing you need to remember to do is be the best version of yourself. Be excellent. Bring the best when you come and speak, because you're speaking for a reason. So you need to be big in your voice, in the way that you do your hand movements, of your energy. You're basically the hype man. You're hyping up the crowd. You have to hype everyone up to believe in the message that you're saying. And that's not easy, because everyone's really different. Some people, they might have been forced to listen to you talk. Some of them may have come openly, but you need to hype them up to come and believe whatever you're saying. So at the end, everyone leaves on the same level, which is high. You want everyone to leave as high as possible.